Hello, and welcome to another episode of Time of Day, the Transatlantic wargaming podcast brought to you by the people from Break for Assault. I'm Lee Parnell, recording from somewhere in the south of England, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Mike in sunny LA. Mike, I can see in your sweatpants and sweatshirt. So, is it sunny in LA?
Uh, well, sunny, yes. Warm, no. It's about 60 degrees or 15 Celsius, depending on what metrics you use. We actually had rain this weekend. The fires were all 90-ish something percentile contained, so uh, much to the chagrin of the entire Eastern Seaboard, Los Angeles survives.
It's fine. Everyone loves LA.
Well, I mean, there's two people. There's Dodgers fans and people incredibly jealous of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's just how it works.
No, that's one of the obscure American sports I don't follow. I'll take your word for it. Um,
It's the only American sport I still follow at this point.
well, yeah, considering how much a fix NFL is, apparently, I could only agree with you on that one. But hey, I need
Don't
excuse to be up
worry.
at 3 a.m. in the morning eating hot
I'm
dogs. So
sure
yes.
the Jets will get their shit together this year.
Well, being
Uh,
for all my faults a Cowboys fan and just seeing who our new head coach is and just going,
that man was fired by the Jets. You're screwed.
no, I don't know what's happening anymore. Well, I have to be working the F-35. I got told to choose a football team to follow. Anyway, enough ramblings about that. So tonight we are back to look at the IDF or Israeli book. They actually call it the IDF book. It's a World War III Team Yankee Israeli book,
Yes.
which
But
is
but very quickly before we do that, New Year, New Army
well.
update.
I was going to get to that. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
we are
I
going to
I,
see how we're doing with our armies.
I have built 5 whole 113s since last recording
Which, to be fair,
not
was a
that
week
long
ago.
ago.
Yeah, it was only a week
Yes, it
ago.
was it
So
was a week ago. I don't know if we want to say the actual time, but yeah. In a week I've built my transport 113s. I built the fifth extra as
mhm,
another transport just in case I ever need an HQ for an infantry one.
was
I'm
good.
gonna get to work on my uh SAM ones, which I assume I just build as mortars and then stick the man
No,
in the back.
build as infantry ones, but you leave the top hatch open. You don't use a circular top hatch or a mortar. You use an infantry one, but you keep the square hatch and the top
So I
open.
keep the square hatch and then I put the guy on the post in
Correct.
for the RBS. Okay.
Hmm.
This is why I'm glad I brought this up because I would have done the circular hatch like the mortar and just stuck the RBS in there.
That's because you didn't look at the pictures I took of mine when I did all mine. It's a handy reference how they looked.
Well, I remember reading that and I went, I don't have an airbrush, and I closed the article.
Disgust, yes.
I don't own an airbrush. I live in an apartment. Where am I going to use it?
I mean, I've got my little man cave. I have my airbrush in here. It just sits in the corner.
Yeah, I don't have a man cave. I have a
Your
bedroom and a
whole
living room.
your whole flat is the man cave. You're living the
I have
bachelor
this thing called a
lifestyle.
security deposit I need to get back. I can be painting inside my own home with an airbrush. That's asking for disaster.
Fine. Let's get one of those little desk extractors. You throw it out the window. You throw the other end out the window. Not
This
the.
this this is bougie European airbrush manufacturing talking here.
I mean, to be fair, I have an extractor. I just crack the window open and just be done with it. But and
Uh,
I'll deal with the repercussions of my lungs later in life.
uh,
Screw you, future Lee. But yes, so you got
uh.
5 M113s built.
Yes.
Okay, so all moving along.
I
It's
don't
all progress. It's good.
considering there's only a couple days left of the month, I don't think I'm making my have everything built by the end of the month goal. I'm gonna blame the fires, and I'm gonna commit to having everything built by the end of February, with hopefully a platoon being painted. That's where I'm gonna put a little stretch on there because I what needs to be built is 4 113s and 4 Harriers, and if I take a whole month doing that, I'm gonna be shamed forever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's like a weekend's build at most, but you have
Yeah.
to fit these things around. Whereas I'm still trying to get always 3 platoons of infantry painted by the end of the month, which I've now sort of come to the conclusion is not going to happen. I may just getting the webbing done now. So I reckon by the end of the month, I'll probably be starting basing. That's where I'm probably going to be, I reckon. I presume I get sent somewhere odd, but yeah. But yeah, once I get those three platoons infantry done, that's a big chunk of that army done. Because at the box set, it's just basically objectives, infantry guns, pack 40s, and medium mortars left. So
Ease.
yeah, if I can start doing some tanks, get some little
Yes,
hetzers.
yes, Lee. You must finish your infantry before your pudding.
You can't have any meat if you don't eat your pudding.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Great. So yeah. So that's all progressing. I'll put some pictures up here. Mike can send me some pictures of what he's got built. I'll put some of those in.
Oh yeah, I got to do that at some point. Okay, so new Team Yankee book.
New Team Yankee book. We finally have some Team Yankee content. I'm
Uh,
so starved for Team Yankee content. I don't care what it is. I'm just a sucker for trying to get something new in. But yes, we
I know.
have.
I also, you know, was hoping for more from Team Yankee as people will pick up from our last episode.
Yes. But yeah, I like to say, I will still say I hope for a full Oil Wars Redux kind of thing. Um, but this book is very much just the Israelis, who in the previous Oil Wars book were basically two Macarthur formations, an M60 formation, and then the M113 infantry formation. Because I think every army pretty much had four formations in the first book, apart from the Iranians who had five, I want to say, but more or less
That
four. I mean, if I really want to have my All Wars book here, I could just look over and go,
let's not forget how they did the poor Syrians dirty by saying, use the Iraqis, but do the less interesting stuff.
yeah, like I say, we'll get onto my Syrian wish list on the later,
Um, I mean, I'm checking through forces, and everyone's got five
apart
except
from,
for Israel, who's got no, they also have five. Okay.
do they have
Oh,
five?
but the shot was added after the fact. The shot blazer was added
Correct.
after.
There's only four in the book.
There's four in the book, and
Yeah,
then there's
the show out gets added when the Swedish Centurions came out.
yes.
Mhm. So, like I say, it's a very standard thing. What this book does is basically take that, but like as you say, put the show out in informally. And as with most of the later tranche Team Yankee books, it basically goes from brings it into 1990s effectively. Even the book still says it's 1985 and the Cold War just got hot. Here's a 1990s
Yes.
version. Oh, on the cover we also have Apache longbows just to really throw it out there. Just make it a bit more interesting. Not that it appears in the rules. Don't worry. There's no parody.
Oh yeah, they do have the extra dish on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the artist got a bit carried away with reference material. Um, so yeah, just like I say, just going for the background at the start. It's all your standard stuff. It sort of really rehashes what was in the Old Wars book. I'm not going to go into that too much. It just basically sets up a bit like it did with the Iran-Iraq War in the Iraq and Iran sections. It basically goes, here's what happened in the 80s with the Levant, effectively. So you got the
Yeah.
Israelis
They
invaded,
they
invaded
yeah.
Lebanon. Topical. Um,
And the Syrians marching through the Golan Heights
mhm,
again. So the lore section is like, oh, Iran and Iraq are at it again. Iran with the red bloc,
mhm.
Iraq with
He had that kind of shoehorn thing with the
I
Russians, were
don't want to say
basically
NATO because obviously not North Atlantic. I don't want to be shamed by my CETO mess ups again. What do we call Iraqis in this universe? NATO aligned?
inconvenient. But yeah, they're very much that they're not the Iranians, therefore we'll give them some support under the counter support, as it were.
Right.
Well, the French just go, here's the sales catalogue. Let us know what your order is. You want some
Again,
Rolands? You can have some Rolands. You want some
I'm just
Airmix?
saying, if we want to like really, really get into it, there should be West German options for both sides because they sold weapons to both sides during the massive war. There should be some, we should have, chemical weapons on the Iraqi side and NBC gear on the Iranians. If we're following history here.
NBC gear. Where they get they
All
give you
sold by the
NBC
lovely
gear.
West Germans who have never done anything wrong.
No, no, no. They were perfectly. No, West Germany is best Germany.
Anyway, uh,
Yeah, it sort of covers, like say, Begin try make an issue of the PLO in Beirut. The Syrians saying, we disagree on that, and then getting their air force blown up because that's apparently what happens in the Middle East. Um, and then it goes on to the fictional counter, basically. It picks up in the mid 80s with, like say, the Soviets putting some pressure on the Syrians to here's some new military kit, go stall the Israelis and distract the Americans, and turn this war into a multi-regional conflict, as it were.
and it does specify in some of the pictures that the Syrians are using T-72M tank regiments.
Yeah, they do keep the
So,
so the T-72M is the numerically most important version the Syrians had, but they did have the A version, which they call the T-82, because
mm,
they call it T-72, T-79, because that's when they got the T-72s.
right. It also mentions T-62s and BTRs, BMPs, but I was hoping just a little bit that it'd be like a T-72 battalion or regiment or whatever, just to give us a little hint that the bees were coming for
Hmm.
Syria, but no, nothing.
Not the bees,
I
but yeah, I'd like to think that if you're going to do a rehash of the Syrians at some point, giving the B is a shoe-in because, like I say, they were so closely aligned. Um, the whole Assad regime is basically so closely aligned with the Russians. They'd given them a lease on the port even back then, but they get all the fancy kit ahead of time. But I say the only people that get the A version and export, certainly in the 80s.
Yes.
And I just think it'd be interesting because, like I say, with the Merkava Mark III spoilers coming in,
We haven't even got. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen it by now.
I mean,
It
it was
it was on the last episode when we were looking at Battlefront's website. So yes,
correct.
Merkava Mark III is the new shiny toy they're selling this book on.
Yeah, and basically, the Merkava Mark III comes around because Israelis go into Lebanon, run into the T-72. So they realise that the T-62 is not the best tank in the region, and the 125 millimeter he's dealing with, and obviously the 105 is starting to show its age by this point.
Not to mention they drove their Merkava ones and twos into the city and were
Yeah, urban
ambushed to
fighting's
hell.
yeah, urban fighting
Urban
never
fighting
goes in there.
happened,
Yeah,
and they went, "What? Tanks
mhm,
are invincible. How could this have possibly happened?" Like every time anyone engages in urban operations.
correct. He took a tank designed for something to go in heights and just dealing with T-62 wave attacks and tried going to a city with it. And the only
It didn't
bright
go
thing
well.
the only bright thing you can say is having the door at the back does make it easy to get out when they get Molotov cocktails on the top.
Hmm.
Can't dismiss that as a feature. So yeah,
Yes.
basically we pick up 8th of August, Syrians come in, and then 9th of August is an Israeli counterattack. And that's pretty much where we get to in the fluff. It doesn't really go into a great deal of it, apart from those two first for us.
Yes.
Interestingly, later when you get to the scenarios, it just builds it a bit more and deals with the further counterattacks and introduces the Soviets in. But we'll get to that in a second.
Yes. But then we hit the force org chart, obviously.
Hmm.
So in addition to adding the Merkava and the Shoats, which we already knew about, they added a reserve infantry company and a paratrooper company.
Hmm.
As far as things added to the force support, they've added BM-21 Hales that
Yep.
they've supposedly captured from Syria, and they
Bizarrely,
just have
so
the right size rockets laying around, apparently.
they made them. So even to this day, you can buy various grad rockets from IMI because when the original book came out, I said, oh, they should have put their hails in because there's a thing I remember the Israelis having at the time.
Mm. They've added Cobras, AH-6. I'm sorry, they added Apaches. They the Israelis have Cobra attack helicopters and they call them the Vipers. Then they get the Apaches and they call them the Cobras. And I'm like, what are you people doing?
I hadn't twigged until you said it, but that they actually used the English translations of the Hebrew names. Just make it really confusing when you're looking for an AH-1 Cobra and have an AH-64 Cobra. Yes.
Yes. And then they added the Rabbi anti-tank and recce platoons, which we'll get back to that. But all the other stuff is there: the Skyhawks, the
Hmm.
Chaparrals, the Vaz, the Shulkas, the 120 mortars, the 109s, the
Pereira. Pereira?
Perez.
Pereira. Not Perez. Get him out of
We are
retirement.
only Checo can bring peace to the Middle East. Oh, Rip Checo deserved better,
King of
sort
the
of.
street circuits. Let's put him to a city fight. But also, I think did we say the MRS was in there? I can't remember if we skipped over it. But
Wasn't the MLRS in the previous book?
no, because that doesn't appear
Oh,
until
it
version
wasn't.
two.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the MLRS is also in.
yeah.
I thought it was in the previous version, so that's on me. So now you have not you went from no salvo options to two salvo options.
And I'm trying to debate which one's the better one. I think I'm leaning towards the Hail, just 'cause I think I prefer the extra firepower of it. Yeah, no rockets
Well,
originally.
that and you don't have the option of buying the extra fun toys on the MLRSs. They only come base.
They not get minus as an option.
I don't believe
Oh, we'll
so. Let
get to that in a
me.
second. Yeah, we'll look when we get to the support section.
Oh
Right.
no, they
So
do get the mindlets. Okay.
yeah, I'm about to say it's pretty much a standard rockets just showering submunitions everywhere. Some of them don't not going off apparently is a minor option. We get to the special rules. So airborne is in, obviously paratroops, not entirely unsurprising. Applique armor appears for the upgrade M113s, a bit like the upgrade Bradleys and Warriors you get in the British and American books. Um, you have the options of having Dragon 2 and what they call MAPATs, which was basically a laser guided tow missile they put in the 80s, which is basically equivalent to tow 2 in terms of warhead. And also a new rule in here is Sayer. Sayer? Sayer. Okay, I'm gonna get people
Yeah.
complain about my pronunciation of a Bagration the other day, so now they can complain about my pronunciation of the Hebrew words. But this is basically about like the Jeep mounted commando raid kind of thing.
Uh, yeah. So basically, that rule says if you pass your counterattack, you can choose to break off and drive through the enemies instead of breaking off away from them.
Which is
You
a
still have to end at least 6 inches away
Mhm.
from all assault teams to avoid being destroyed. So it's still a standard break off. You still have to,
Yeah.
clear the team. But if it's only like one or two stands, you can just drive past them, which is a pretty good rule.
Yeah, it's basically how tanks used to work in version 3 Flames of War. So it's interesting it's come back all of a sudden. But it's nice, it just represents some sort of like being very aggressive and breaking through the enemy by just basically like making like LRDG because as we'll see later, the rabbi is basically a fitting with about a gazillion machine guns, apparently.
Yes. Also, I'd like to point out, they have the tandem warhead rule for some of their stuff, and
Yeah.
they're finally supposed to be fighting things that tandem warfare actually defeats
Hmm.
because tandem warhead only works on era,
It does.
but not on all the other stupid names for things that do the exact same thing as era.
Yeah, like I say, because the warheads don't really clear anything. They do have an effect on space armor, but it's not as pronounced. But I think I like make say this makes the case for like say Syrians getting T-72Bs and I'd be really cool if they get their era equipped T-62s, which do make an appearance later in the Syrian forces. So first formation, McCarver Mark III, straight into
Makava
it.
Mark III.
Chonky boy.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you gotta bring it up on the screen.
Yes. Hold on. I think we wanted.
There we go.
So I've already pre-hidden all the points from you. You have to buy the book for the points, people. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So, Merkava Mark III, real, real chunky. Front armor 23, side armor 10, top armor 2. Uh, very good stats. I don't know how I feel about the IDF being a skill 3 army when they are so small in numbers and often supplement themselves with reservists.
I'm going to get to that later when we deal with the M60s and Shoats because it's a good point. They
Hmm.
sort of compound themselves by bringing the reserve infantry and then being a bit inconsistent about what reservists and aren't reservists. But
Yes.
I mean, I'm less with the tank corps. I am more inclined to go with it because if nothing, this Israeli tanks have generally shown themselves to be fairly well performing in combat. Albeit again, going to a city fight is never going to show you in a good light.
Right. But, the Merkava 3 is one thing, but
Mhm.
skill 3 plus is the standard across the book.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, with the infantry, it gets a little bit more sketchy. But like I say, with the
Hmm.
tanks, I tend to more go with it.
Right.
So
So,
compared to oil
advanced
war,
stabilizers, you
yeah,
know, real fast, 3-up cross, uh, big chunker of a gun, rate of fire to AT-22, 40 inches range, real
yeah.
nice gun.
So basically, the same as the sort of the 120s and the Rheinmetall Leopards. Not quite as good as the depleted uranium shots you get on the M1A1s, but again, it's compared to anything that it should be facing in the Middle East, more than sufficient. And even if they throw
Yes.
T80s in, it's give
Uh,
us something to think about.
absolutely World War II number of machine guns on this tank.
Yeah,
That's a lot of dice.
one for each hatch and a 50 cal over the barrel, just
Hmm.
plus a coax. But
Plus the coax.
yeah, so it's interesting to note that with the Merkava Mark III, sorry, just get my words out. They upped the engine to a 1000-ish horsepower engine. So compared to a Mark II, which is 10-inch tactical because it only has stabilizers, a 14-inch terrain dash, a 20-inch cross country, and a 24-inch road dash, this has got a little bit of a wiggle on basically. The stats are a lot more comparable to most other Gen 3 tanks basically. Not really up there with jet engined M1A1, but that's cheats by having a jet engine, as I just said.
Yes. Uh, but also just to give you guys an idea of the points in this book without getting too specific,
Mhm.
Merkava 3s are really expensive.
Yes, this is pre-dynamic points, and it's basically only a little bit cheaper than a Leclerc. It was
Yes, and
pre-discount.
considering how often they updo dynamic points, I don't think IDF players are going to be very happy for, well, they're going to be unhappy for a while.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm hoping when this comes out, they do at least put out an updated dynamics because it's easier to work out where it should be when you look at, like, say, Leopard 2A5s, Leclerc, M1A1 heavy armors, where it should sit. Um,
yes.
and like I say, when you look at dynamic points, for the Mark 1, Mark 2 had their points changed with dynamic points. They both got marginally cheaper.
Right. I'm sure this will follow the dynamic point trends of Gen 3 tanks coming down a reasonable amount,
Hmm.
but the only points we have to go off of right now are expensive.
Correct. Yeah. It's expensive, but it's in line with its peers, basically.
Right.
Hmm.
Let's talk about the formation it comes in really quick.
Yep.
So obviously you have a 1 or 2 tank HQ.
Hmm.
You have a black box Merkava 3 platoon. You have another black box platoon, but this can be the Merkava 1, 2, or 3.
Which is a really nice feature of the formation. Yep.
Yes, that one of your mandatories can be a cheaper tank
Hmm.
or a more expensive one as when we get onto the other formations.
Because
Uh
interesting in all this is something I realized in all wars. The original Macarthur 1 and 2 companies couldn't mix. It only comes in this book that actually fixed it, so you can mix the marks and Macarthur in a platoon in a formation. Sorry.
yes. There's still 2 or 3 tank platoons.
Hmm.
So you're never gonna have a whole lot of them. You have a gray box third Merkava 3 platoon. You have a gray box recon that's either a Jeep, a 113, which have stayed the same from previous, and then they've added the Rabbi Recce, which we'll get to later, and then a gray box of infantry as either classic mech platoon or the new reserve infantry platoon,
Hmm.
which we'll get to later.
Yes. Hold the
And these are the
forts. It's all
exact
coming.
same formations for the Merkava 1 and 2.
To
Uh,
some extent, also even the Shoat and their M60 both follow the same sort
well,
of
you
general
can't
format.
mix tanks. The
No, you
Merkavas
can't.
can
No.
you have a little bit of mixing with the Merkavas, but when you're using the Shoats or the M60s, the Magak 6s, excuse me,
Yeah,
uh, it's only those tanks. You don't get to mix any Merkavas in with those.
correct. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, I mean, front armor 23, the only thing that's going to get through the front armor in a peer Syrian force is basically the Hinds and the
Yes.
Su-25's missiles. Everything else tops out about 21 or 22. Just going to go ping.
Oh yeah, they don't get fitters because the fitters came out after the fact, which is
Correct. Again, I hope that gets added in later because they should get
yes.
them. Yeah.
Demo rockets, my beloved, come back and save us from Gen 3 armor.
Oh man, demolition rockets were always, especially on the East German ones, we get the skill 4 plus,
Yes,
range it
immensely
in.
so. Uh, so they've added the Blazer upgrade for the Magax.
Hmm.
It raises their points just a little bit. It ups the front armor by one. It gives you the era special rule,
Yeah.
and that's kind of it. I didn't bother taking a screenshot because, well, this information's already out there. They've already put out the
US Marine Corps is basically exactly the same in
well,
terms
not
of
only
book.
that, but they should have also put out the PDF for it.
No, the Macaque 6 was at the PDF previously. This is only been so the Macaque 6, sorry, Macaque 6 Blazer was not in a PDF previously.
Was it
Only
not? Okay.
the show out was so.
Okay, so I
But
guess
like
that is new for the book.
it is, but like I say, it's stat wise, it's only the same as US Marine Corps. You go front armor 16 basically, and then again era class
Yeah.
all the way around it. Um,
You know, two
that's
or three
about
of them, it's still a 2-1, 1819, 2-up firepower, accurate, brutal, smoke.
yeah,
It's the same tank with just a touch more armor for a touch more points.
correct.
The Shoat has been that one is definitely a web PDF release.
Hmm.
So it is the era version, which we know because
Yeah, it's basically on par with, like say, the Swedish version.
yeah, the Swedish one had arrow, right? I'm not
Correct.
being dumb. Okay.
I think the only thing that's really different is it has brutal, whereas the Swedish Centurions didn't. If I
Mm,
recall, could be wrong. It's got the upgraded engine, so it's slightly quicker. It's not going to set a land speed record for sure, 'cause it's still a
well,
Centurion.
it still just has regular stabilizer, so it's not going that fast one way or the other.
Correct. It's still
You know, I
dropping down fire one on the move. It's
and still skill 3 on the Magax and the Shoats, which
which is
is
the point it's going to make because
yeah.
these were reservist units, so I would expect I was thought we might see these guys go skill 4 plus, albeit knowing Megax might not, so already in the old book as skill 3 plus. But it feels like, given we have reserve infantry, these guys should also have been a lower skill second tier tank, basically. I mean, these
I
things,
agree.
yeah,
I don't like Battlefront stance of we have to make all the V1 Team Yankee books work. I feel like the new book should invalidate the old books. That would have given them the freedom to go like the Magax are reservist tanks. We can, fuss with the stats and whatnot.
yeah. I think otherwise it
But
just feels like this doesn't really differentiate them against for Megax Macavers basically, which are should be the frontline regular army tanks, as it were. I mean, as it is, they're basically cheap. I
They're
mean,
cheap Magak or they're cheap Merkava ones, basically.
there's no to show it's actually more expensive than the basic Magak 6, even though it's got lower armor. Just try to think why.
No, it's
Oh, it's
not.
got a laser
Oh, it
rangefinder, whereas
is.
the show
Yes.
the Magaks don't. Yeah,
Right,
okay.
right, because this is the 85 upgrade,
Hmm.
so you get the you get the laser rangefinder.
Got to keep that thing. It's like I'm so tired. Oh dear, but it still worked. I mean, but eventually they do get a new role, and we'll get onto that in the next formation, which is the Mech Infantry Company.
Yes. So,
So talk about invalidating for old formations. This one's completely invalidated because everything's got new options.
yeah, so the formation itself, two black box infantry mech platoons, a gray box infantry mech platoon, a armor platoon, which is all five of your tank options.
Yeah, so that's been
Uh,
fleshed out.
113 81 mil mortars, the M150 anti-tank section, which is the 113 with the recoilless rifles on it.
Well, tow missile mounts,
Yeah, sorry, tell me saw mounts.
which is basically recoilless when you get down to it.
The squads themselves haven't changed.
They haven't
It's
only the options, basically. Yes.
right, right. The little extras, because obviously, we now have the ability to get Dragon twos.
Hmm.
It's the same thing as always, where if you upgrade one unit of dragons to Dragon twos, you have to upgrade all of them to Dragon twos.
I was
You can.
debating
Sorry, go
would
ahead.
I was debating would you upgrade the dragon because you only got one platoon
If I
now.
only have one platoon and I'm sitting on a point, sure. If I'm running a whole company, then I'm thinking about it because
You always get that trap where if you fire that dragon team at a tank, you're giving away position of the platoon. Now you
yeah,
could
because
do a trick of putting it in the M113, so it gives the M113's position away, not the infantry, because they have a dragon
sure,
mount.
but also it's a single dragon per, and 1 point for one dragon shot going up 3 AT is kind of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, A-Tank 21 makes it useful, whereas 18 just feels like, mind you, against peer threats, 18's more than adequate versus T62s, T55s, even T72Ms can't be dismissing a dragon to the front. But you start throwing in T64 BVs, T72 Bs, T80s, and all of a sudden that dragon one goes, Bleh.
Sure, but again, they're heat weapons anyway.
Hmm,
So even if you get like the good side armor shots, it's still diced to a degree.
yeah,
What they have added is the ability to swap out your RPG sevens for B300s.
which is basically what becomes a small in the US Marine Corps. Yeah.
Yes. So a little bit more range, jumping up to 16 inches from 12. Still assault 5, still heat, still slow firing,
Better
but
firepower.
you but the firepower goes up to 3 plus instead of
Hmm.
4 plus, and that's pretty big.
I
Uh
yeah, I think it's certainly something that's going to make a difference. My inability to roll 3+ is just because of my inability to roll 4+, but it's
Sure,
still
but
better.
the extra 4 inches, and considering that, we're talking about multiple RPG 17s
Hmm.
getting upgraded to B300s. If I have 1 point left over, I'm not buying a Dragon 2, I'm buying B300s first.
Every day of the week. Absolutely. I think it's definitely worth an upgrade. I also think, unlike the Dragon, you can have one unit upgraded with the B300s and the other unit could be RPG still. If you did
Uh I think so, because I don't remember that being in
oh, it's
the
only
special
dragons and
rules for.
toes that had the rule.
Yeah, it was the Mapats and the
Mhm.
toes. So
Yeah, what are you working at? We're looking it up. So the Israeli infantry has always been probably one of the better infantry platoons in the game. Up there, the British and the French and the Poles. You got a lot of stands in there. You got four galleys, which are basically rate of fire 3 and fire laws. You then got 3 FM mags, which give you rate of fire 5. Admittedly, only assault 5 plus as well, but they give you a base of fire. Then 3 RPGs, and then a dragon. They're like mortar, basically save the dragon by putting hit onto. It's a very strong unit. Mostly frees across the board. Again, this is the full-time army or the most recent batch of conscripts when you want to look at it. Only assault 4 plus, but that's pretty common with most of forces apart from the British. Apparently, the only British still practice bayonetry, I'm guessing, is the logic or something. But assault 4 is still more than adequate. With all that short range firepower, I'm not even sure you need assault. There's a lot of shots you can put out.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty amount of close up hurting people very badly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Plus, then you throw in 4 M113s with their 50 cals as
mm,
well, which throws even more fire down range.
yes. So these ones come with the 113s as standard.
Mm-hmm.
You can replace all the 113s for the Vizada.
Yeah, because I always thought the upgrade one was the Vesta, but apparently the unupgrade one's the Vesta, and then the upgrade one is a Vizata. But again, not up to my Hebrew, so don't quote me on the pronunciations.
Also, I did confirm that the B300 does not have that rule, so you can upgrade individual squads with the B300.
Excellent.
And upgrading the 113s, the Vizadas, is a 1 point for the whole unit, or you can replace them with the Nagmashat.
Nagma
Nagmashoat?
Shawat, yeah.
Nagmashoat?
Mhm. It
I
sounds
don't
like
speak Hebrew.
Decepticon, I think. I think it's
Mm.
like a Gen 2 Decepticon. I can't remember.
And that's 1 point each. So that's actually kind of pricey because that's an extra 3 or 4 points depending on the size of your platoon.
Yeah, but there's a reason, as we'll get on to.
There is a
Bring,
reason,
bring up
which
the stats.
huh.
There we go. Yep.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
stream close up.
Yes.
So the Vizata is basically an M113 with slat armor. Um,
Applique armor, thank you. So that gives you that good RPG defense at the very least, and that's actually really meaningful here, keeping the laws and the RPGs from immediately obliterating you. I mean, armor 13 gives you some amount of dice rolling into it, so not
especially against
not bad
BMP
for 1
ones
point.
as
Yeah.
well, because your BMP ones only
Right.
is
Yes.
a heat anti-tank 14 round. It gives you some protection.
An absolute nightmare of a gun.
Mhm.
It should be better, but it's just not.
I don't know if it should be better. It was great for the 1960s, showing its age by the 80s. Um, but again, as common with all the Israeli M113s, it's like why have a 50 cal as to put some M60s on as well? So it's just dripping in machine
Yes.
guns, all of which are AA as well. So potentially putting out 2 shots AA fire from each M113.
Yes, and they're not self-defense, so you can shoot anything with them,
Hmm.
not just what's coming after you. Dragon mount. So throw your stupid dragon in there.
Yep,
Have it give away the 113s.
entirely valid. I think as a strategy. I like to say for a point upgrade unit. Again, if I got the points to spare, I mean, I think my priority would be upgrade the B300 first. If I'm an attacking force, upgrade the M113s. If I'm a defensive minded force, upgrade the Dragon. And if I got the points to do all three, so much better. Ba 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 ba.
So we're talking about the Vizada. Uh,
Yeah, so
the era does a whole lot for this thing.
Mhm. Well, Pleek armor, it's not quite full era. It's just some perforated steel at the end
I'm
of the
sorry.
day.
Yes, it's the applique rule. Sorry.
It's basically like I say, stat armor, but
Yes. Uh,
before it was cool. So scroll down to the Nagma show
Yeah.
at
Oh,
Nagma
and
shot.
just to point out really quick, this is a resin upgrade. It's 3 bits of resin that you just glue onto the sides of your 113s.
Yeah, and it's quite. I think we, as you saw in the last episode, it's a lot pricier than we were expecting.
It's very expensive. So the Nagma Shoat.
Yeah. So,
Now we're getting spicy with the IFEs or the APCs here.
I mean, the Israelis embraced the whole idea of the heavy APC a lot earlier. Well, way earlier than everyone else would sort of go on to. I mean, in the 90s, it became a lot more prevalent with like the Puma and that kind of thing. But yeah, this is basically take the Centurion hull, and before this, I think most of this old T-55 hulls. I'm pretty sure the old Terrans end up being converted to APCs, but it's basically a kangaroo on steroids. Take the turret off, throw it away, don't need it. Put on a bungalow on top, cover it in Era armor and machine guns, and hey presto, you
And a
have
40 mic grenade launcher.
I had a 45 grenade launcher, which is called a machine gun, which is interesting because you can fire all three of those weapons at 40 mil AA, 50
And the
cal, and the
7.62s.
72s.
There's
Two
two 7.62s.
7.62s.
So there's 5 dice of machine guns plus another 4 or 5 dice of grenade launcher.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's 3 AA shots
Yeah, because it
because
say
those are
two, doesn't
AA
it? Yeah.
machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says 2x. So that's 2 of those machine guns.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like I say, has era.
has
So
era,
mhm.
has thermal imaging.
I think Maska's got the whole dragon thing bizarrely. Whenever you have a dragon mount, it always gains thermal imaging because it assumes the dragon optics are fitted. But like I say, it doesn't. Not every. There's only one dragon. Only one of these things should have thermal.
It's very weird.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it's a cool looking thing. I assume it's an entirely resin model. It's not going to be an upgrade for the plastic Centurion, but um, yeah. I mean, it's a point a vehicle. So, like I say, it's a 4 point upgrade effectively. For upgrading one platoon to be a offensive, get in the enemy's face, drive up, dismount, move forward with these things, putting a hail of fire down, and if the enemy fires RPGs at you, just cackle insanely.
yes, laughing era. Because the
Obviously,
RPG sevens will not hurt you.
if they fire off, spigots and that kind of thing at you, then okay, sure, they got a chance of killing me. On the other hand, if you're shooting at them, you're not shooting at anything that I probably care about. I wouldn't upgrade both platoons with it, but I certainly have one if I was taking an infantry unit with these things.
I would probably like if it was a defensive platoon, I'd probably just buy the B300s.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive platoon, I'd probably just stick them in the Nagma Shoat.
Yeah,
If I was on a budget, I would just and I only had a single point to spend, I would actually probably upgrade the 113s to the Vezada
yeah,
because that's a whole lot of defense for 1 point, which I think is
absolutely.
pretty reasonable.
Yeah, if you're just taking one, exactly, if you're just taking one platoon as a platoon in a tank formation, and that's probably the way to go. I think if you're taking an actual M113 formation, having one platoon of these bad boys as your offensive punch in the face kind of thing, not a bad shout. But yeah.
Yeah, so real spicy. So moving on to the next a whole new company, the Israeli Reserve Infantry Company.
Whole new company looks kind of like the old company.
It's the exact same layout. However, uh, some of the support options say reserve.
Yes.
You have reserve mortars and reserve M150s, and you actually have an extra option in this formation is you don't need to take the M150. You can take Jeep anti-tank platoons
Oh, toe
because
cheeks, my
those
old
are
favorite.
so much better.
Oh, I always want to find. I always want to try and love my toe cheeks, but they always let me down. Um,
Always.
yeah. So obviously, reservists is not a new concept for Team Yankee. We saw this before with the Jaegers in the Jump Book, with the Fox recce vehicles in the British book for the TA, and it follows that similar sort of thing. So it's sort of downgraded in terms of mostly skill. They go skill 4 plus rather than 3 plus. Their counter attack and basically it's force across the board.
Yes.
Um, their motivation
So
is
they're
lower.
technically no worse at assaulting
Correct.
than regular mainline infantry.
Yeah. And when you get
Also,
down
the courage has come down a little bit too.
yeah,
They went from 3s to 4s, but
but I mean, force across the board, that's still standard NATO stats. They're not awful when you get down to it.
so these guys do not come with transports. It costs you 2 points to give them transports.
Mhm.
You can give them the Dragon 2, but you can't get the B300s. You can't get the upgraded 113s. You can't get the Nagma Shoat.
Yeah.
Uh, Interestingly enough, if you buy uh the 113s, you only save a single point between reserve infantry and regular infantry.
Yeah. I think it's heavily encouraging you not to take the M113 to this platoon.
Yes,
This platoon is just meant to sit on the objective and guard it. And probably do a fairly
pretty
good job
much.
at it.
Mm.
I think anything that really hurts that logic is a counterattack 4 plus. If a counterattack 3 plus, you can probably rely on a bit more to hold, but 4 plus is still
They're a little
good
more likely
enough.
to run away, a little more likely to
Mhm.
remain pinned, but I think 4 up is still perfectly serviceable.
Yeah. Still lots of firepower. All right, you haven't got the B300s, but the RPG is still adequate, especially for like a defensive platoon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Another interesting thing I've noticed about the formation is you get access to the reserve Jeep anti-infantry platoon.
mhm,
Normally the 150s are just a pair of them, two 113s with toes on them.
correct.
The reserve Jeep platoon, you can get up to 4.
Which makes up for the fact they're going to die horribly very quickly, a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
more
but you'll
palatable.
get 4 shots before they die horribly. I mean, the 150 is literally just an unupgraded 113. You don't even get the fun applique armor.
That's true. But I guess there's a thing that bugs me with this, and we haven't mentioned it earlier. I forgot to mention we talked about in the recce options and repeat here. Two Jeeps cost the same as two M113 chassis. In the recce Jeeps earlier, three recce Jeeps are the same cost as three recce M113s. I don't think those things are comparable. I think the M113 is worth a lot more than the Jeep by any measure.
Yes, but if we're talking about a platform to drop out of ambush and fire some toes off,
Still
the
take the
Jeeps might
M113.
not actually be terrible.
I
For
mean,
4 of them,
for four of them, yes, that's a fair point. But with the recce, say with the recce ones, I struggle to see why you take the recce Jeeps
yeah.
over the
And
recce
I don't think we've
M113s.
talked about the actual stat difference between the ITO and the Mopats.
Yeah, so I mean, the Mopats is basically the Toe 2,
You
but
get an extra
slightly,
2 AT and you get an extra 8 inches of max range. And
yeah,
that's
because it's
kind of it, but
correct. Because it's
it's
not
not
tied
nothing.
to a wire, basically. It's laser guided. It can get that extra range. Doesn't have the cable go ping at the worst possible moment. If you play squad a lot, you'll know that feeling. But
I don't hate myself enough to play squad.
I tried playing it. I just kept dying horribly and realized I probably just leave it to all the Twitch reflex teenagers. Just stick with
Hmm.
armor. Um, but yeah, so it's an interesting formation. I'm not sure where it sits because it's things are cheaper, but not cheap enough where I think you'd end up trying to squeeze a second formation into another formation here. Well, I suppose you could stack these guys up with something like Shoats or the Magax and maybe get the two formation army in for 100 points.
Well, it's either you're taking a tank force and you just want real cheap infantry to throw at a home objective to sit on it,
Yeah.
or because they're different names, because one is a mech infantry platoon, the other is a reserve infantry platoon.
Hmm.
You can bring a second platoon as your support, so you can have a fancy one to go up with your tanks and do stuff, and have a cheap one stay home and die slowly, theoretically speaking.
Yeah.
So
I think that's definitely the way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah, there is some use case for the reserve infantry existing.
Oh, certainly, like I say, the actual platoon, fine. The formation, it's nice they put it in there. I'm not sure I'd ever take it over, say, the other formations, but especially the next formation we get to is the
I
paratroops.
mean, I bet you could have a really fun game if you're playing like a reserve infantry company with some SHOATs or some MAGAC sixes against like T-62s,
Oh, versus, yeah, do it versus
you know,
Syrians. Yeah,
or T-55s. Like you could have, I bet you could have some fun second line unit games going because I'm a big fan of using second line units against each other.
absolutely. I mean, I must admit, when Mike takes his little Jaegers and his Red Storm Rising force here, but it's interesting playing against Germans who aren't the best of the best. It's just like a bit more squidgy.
Yes. So moving on to the third infantry
Hmm.
formation, the paratrooper company.
Yeah, it always makes me laugh because in the foreign book that you had the paratroops, but you never had no ability to really be paratroops because there's no transport helicopters in Foan. So finally, they get to actually be airborne troops in Team Yankee.
Yes. So the formation is what you would expect. HQ, two black box platoons, a gray box platoon, a slot for your choice of tank,
Hmm.
uh, armored 81 mil mortars, anti-tank, and your options are the 150s, the Jeeps, and you can also have Rabbi or Rabbi.
Hmm.
I almost messed up. Rabbi anti-tank platoons, which we'll talk about a little bit when we talk about the Rabbi later.
Yeah, it's just like we'll get to the second. It's just slightly further down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now we go to freeze across the board.
Yes.
So I mean, the only real big change is that Assault 3 Plus compared to a regular infantry. But it is a big change. On freeze and
Yeah.
assault is not to be dismissed.
And if you buy the M113 transports for a point, you're looking at only a few points more expensive than regular infantry. So this might actually be the one-off support platoon you bring.
Yeah. Like you say, you take the reserve platoon in a tank formation and then have these guys as formation support to give you the guys to get in someone's face. Unfortunately, you can't take these guys an angle shot, which would be filthy if you could.
Right. But you can stick them in Hueys.
Yep. They do have the formation does have the airborne stat, so if you do the old air landing missions, then they can drop in or fly
Yes,
in
so
by
you can play the
helicopter.
Red Dawn missions with them. You get access to B300s, you get access to the Dragon 2.
Hmm.
It's the exact same, and all of these platoons are the exact same number of and configurations of stands. They mess with the soft stats a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, let's say generally in most sort of Western forces in by the 80s, generally the platoons don't change. It's just the actual sort of motivation, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and if anyone's desperate to know, the Huey is the 3 up courage, 4 up skill, hit on 4, aircraft save 5, 4 dice of door gun machine guns.
Oh, is it? Four dice. Okay.
Because they don't have M60s, they have FN mags.
God of
They
Jimpy.
have better machine guns, so they get 4 dice of machine guns instead of I think it's 3 on the Americans.
I think so, yeah.
Mhm. With this fun door gunner roll, which makes them absolutely useless because you can only fire on the turn they landed.
Hmm. You do have later in the book, you do also have the option of taking the Sea Stallion as well in replacement of the Huey,
Yes.
because they were one of the first adopters of their MH-53. Again, they had it in the Foan era. They actually used it for air assaults in Foan, but but obviously didn't have models that didn't appear in the book. Hasn't been retroactively added to
Right.
it, which is annoying.
I'm pretty sure there was something in the airborne assault missions that said if you have access to Hueys, you can use, you know, appropriate helicopter instead.
Yeah, I
I
might
might
have
be
to look.
wrong. It might have named formations.
I have to look at.
Actually, I think I have my airborne book over here. One second.
But whilst he's looking that up, just go into the rest of the formation. So, like I say, we have the Jeep anti-tank platoons. As we always said, platoons of four has the option of the Mapats to go hit out a longer range. Probably helps a lot, keeps you back away from the enemy shooting you in the face with a brutal gun, which will just end your day spectacularly. We then get the Rabbi rather than Rabbi. For some reason, Battlefront, let's say, keep calling it a Rabbi. Everything I've seen written down has it RABI rather than RABBI because the acronym is RBY, Mark 1. But basically, doing the whole sort of MRAD vehicles beforehand, before they were cool. So it's got an armored body, it's got mine resistant shaping to the bottom, can lose a wheel and still go kind of thing, which is a pilot trick the ferrets could do anyway. Armor one
Well,
all around though, because of that, rather than being
my
top
red
armor
Dawn book
zero.
is not as accessible as I thought it was.
That's fine. I've been talking about the tow jeeps and the rabbies and why the acronym annoys me. Why I've been looking it up. So
Oh yeah. They have the exact same speed as a Jeep, but the big advantage is that they're actually an armored tank unit.
yeah, I mean you can assault. They're assault 3+, can attack 3+. It's for an
Oh,
anti-tank unit. That's crazy.
yeah, that's a little gross. It gets funnier when we get to the scout variant of the Rabbi.
Actually, just before we do, look at how many machine gun shots it gets. I didn't realize it had a machine gun.
Well, yes, the IDF learned from the Americans where you just stick machine guns on literally everything.
Oh, it's not a bad
Like
thing.
4 dice of machine guns, and you take them in two or four that's a lot of A ITOs and Mapats and B machine gun shots on an armored hull, so you can't be pinned,
And for
making it
exact same cost as a Jeep. It's
yes,
better in
actually.
every way. Why is it the
It's
same
literally better in
cost?
every way. I would put this in wheelie good if I remember to update the stupid car tier list.
Oh yes, I
Uh,
think it had to be really good because it's just
because it's
yeah.
armored.
I appreciate the
I mean,
Jeep.
like it's 4 up cross, which is fine, but it's
Mhm.
super fast, 10, 12, 20, 48
As
inches
fast
road
as a
speeds,
Jeep. Yep.
Yeah. But
This is
armored, so
what
you just have to worry about bailing instead of the whole platoon
yeah.
being pinned and useless.
It's the only real vehicle I can think of that's top armor one because Foxes aren't, BRDMs aren't. I know it's designed to be mine resistant. It just feels like making it top armor one. I guess it's because of the
Yeah, but I'm
minefield
looking
rule.
at that picture. There's a man standing on the
It's
top
open
at the tow
topped.
launcher.
Yeah,
He should not be armor one on top. I'm sorry, Battlefront.
it should not. I feel it's a bit generous, especially
Yeah,
when you can
so
make it the same cost.
yeah, so that is definitely the big advantage of the paratrooper company compared to the regular mech infantry is the Rabbi AT option here.
Hmm. It's a very gawky looking vehicle too. I think you're definitely buying it because it's a good unit rather than buying 'cause it's a good looking unit. That's for sure.
I mean, it's kind of fun. It's got, they got the spare wheel on the front. It's got a little bit of
Some styling going on.
LRDG vibe to it, just a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
So that puts us onto the support options.
It does. Like I say, the 120mm mortar and the M109, always good to see. All standbys there. As you said, you don't really get any options to give extra shells in the M109. They're just standard HE shells.
Yes.
MRS, you do, as you said earlier, you get the Minus option. So what would you go with, Grad or the MRS?
So the thing that I don't get is you can take 6 MLRSs in a single platoon with the IDF.
You can get the US one, can't you?
I don't remember off the top of my head,
I haven't got my
but
American book to hand either.
I'm just gonna look that up on forces ever
I'm,
so quickly.
I'm pretty sure the British one
But
tops out of 4, but
why would
America's
you ever want that many? They
12.
all count as two.
I know it's a 12 gun battery. It's
It's
just
a
like
12 gun battery. It doesn't make sense.
no, I think
Yeah, the Americans are 2-3 and the British are 2-3-4.
right. Okay,
So
so
it makes no sense to me that the IDF has 6 of them when they count as 2. They're very expensive.
I'm VR because it's like 3 for 10, or you could have 6 hails for 9 points.
That's the thing, right?
Mhm.
Is
I'm
uh
sure they are armored, so counter battery fire is going to be, as
well
always, a
they
bitch.
they
But
count as armored units.
no, I said the
Yep.
hails don't. The hails are
Oh yeah,
just
the hails don't.
they are
Yes.
unarmored tank teams, which always hurts in the return fire, but it's still skill 3 plus.
Yes.
You got a range of 96, so you can stay back. The enemy is going to have to
Right.
really go
You know,
hunting for you.
not to go over, but because they're skill 3, they're a little more expensive than the American
Hmm.
versions.
Yeah,
Uh
I'm
but
part of the British
again,
ones. Yeah,
for the change of a single point, you can either have 3 MLRSs or you could have 6 hails,
yeah.
and they're you have shorter range on the hail, sure, but
Uh,
96 inches is
isn't
a
that
whole lot of
short?
range
Yeah,
compared to 120, and it's the same anti-tank, but the 4-up firepower and the smoke
smoke.
bombardment.
Yeah, I think the
I would give it to
hails.
the hail.
I
It's
think
it's
so.
it's slightly more combat effective for fewer points, and the smoke is really important because uh there's not a lot of smoke otherwise, because like the mortars don't come in big enough numbers. Uh the 109s do have smoke, but also like getting them in big
Mm,
numbers is cheap. You can get 6 drops of smoke for not that expensive with the hails. So I think I would give it to the hails over the MLRSs,
absolutely. I fully agree on that one.
even though they're an unarmored tank unit,
Hmm.
and that's generally terrible because they get pinned and it's all over. But I think that first turn getting that like all important smoke round off. Also, they're 3 up:
Yeah,
courage, rally, morale.
I mean, you pair that with OP, 3 plus skill and OP. The ranging in becomes academic at that point.
Yes, absolutely, even over terrain.
Though I can still fail it with my British all the time, so
Look, that's
skill issue. I know.
I don't know
Um,
what to tell you.
the
The
Perret.
113
Oh,
OP is still there.
yeah,
They've obviously added the MLRSs and the hails as things you can take to unlock
trigger
it.
it. Yeah,
Uh, the Pere is
yeah.
the same, except you can have the Timur's 2 missile for a kind of expensive amount of points.
It is. I was thinking about this. I mean, all right. One hand, its range goes from 64 to 104 inches.
Yes.
That's a big boost.
Yes.
Um,
You
it's
get AT 23 instead of 21.
Yep,
You get the tandem warhead rule.
yep. Which matters for this
And
because it's facing matters for when the missile comes in. It's not a top attack. It only comes in on the side or front.
yes.
So the standard
And
warhead,
these are your no line of sight vehicles. So
which is
actually the big boost in range I think matters a whole lot for this.
it does. But I was thinking, it goes all right. But what do I normally target with the Pereira? What was always on my target set for targeting with these things? It's generally I'm using it for special enemy air defenses. I'm using it for counter battery because it's kind of wasted as an anti-tank weapon. This thing is really going around and picking off the enemy support assets, is how I've always seen it. And so the range boost is good, but it makes the anti-tank boost kind of redundant. I mean, hitting a armor zero box with anti-tank 21 is effective as anti-tank 23 for taking out enemy SAM systems and shulkers and the like.
Sure, but
But
going
the
from
range boost
and
is good.
64 inches is still nothing to sneeze at.
On a 6x4 table, you still cover most. It's only really
You
that
can still
one
cover
corner
most
you
of it.
can't get to.
But also the stuff that you kind of want to be sniping out might just be set up smartly enough that it's hard to get at.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna have to figure that one out for yourselves. But it is a sizable points increase.
Yeah, basically two of them cost the same as three of the standard per rare.
Yes,
Extrapolate from that how you will.
right.
Um,
Uh,
I think it's gonna
AA
be
is the
some just
same.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
AA. That's right, yeah. I was just
Yeah,
gonna reiterate the point. So yeah,
yeah.
AA's.
Vads, Shulkas, Red Eyes, Chaparrals. It's all the same as before. All this stuff was already in the previous book.
What do you go though? what's your feel? Shulkers or Vads? I
Uh,
I mean Vads have got one extra point of rate of fire, but Shulker's got the cool factor of being a Shulker.
the Shulka is cool, but unfortunately, the Vad's got better front armor, an
Hmm.
extra shot. It's faster,
Marginally, but yes, yeah.
marginally, but it is faster. Uh, they're both dedicated. Like from a stats point, like Vads, but the Shulka is a little bit cheaper and it's way cooler.
I mean, at
So
one
I
point you
would,
save, we'll buy you some B300s.
you know what? Man's got a point.
And
And
Red Eye
honestly, what I
Sam's.
mostly the AT means almost nothing to aircraft or infantry.
Mhm.
Because let me tell you, most of the time, my opponents don't bring aircraft, so my Shulkers drive around because they're integrated in the formation and they shoot infantry and IFEs.
Mhm. Yeah. As you see on the screen, it's been up for a while, whenever I keep
Oh,
changing
yes.
the thing, is Rabbi Reki, who have that
Yes.
Sawyer rule we were talking about earlier, and
So
Scout and
I believe
Spearhead.
these are the only guys who get the Sawyer rule.
Yes, because they are dripping in machine guns.
I mean, 6 dice of machine guns
uh,
and three
it's
of them. That's a lot of machine guns. That's a whole German platoon's worth of machine gun in World War II.
it's like it's when you got to persecute the PLO at 3 o'clock, but you got to your five-a-side football team at 5 o'clock. So you're bringing your buddies along with the machine guns and
Yeah.
rolling
Ugh.
around.
I mean, if you look at the picture, it is, I think, just four machine guns, like 2 guys on each
What
side
each
with machine
corner? It's
guns.
like
It's a lot of machine guns.
right, put machine gun on it. Put the machine gun on it.
And also,
Tell you what,
like,
you keep putting machine guns until I tell you to stop, and I haven't said stop yet.
so now people can also see what we're talking about here. It's clearly open topped. I don't know why it has a top armor value.
I can
Uh,
only assume it's because they're trying to make the whole MRAD thing. They're just trying to say it's better if the mine goes off below, which top armor one would be marginally against an 8 tank 5 mine, but it doesn't feel like say it doesn't feel right because it's open topped. It's just like
yes,
I want a 5 millimeter shell going in there. It's not going to be a happy fun time for anyone.
but yeah, Scout, Spearhead, the fun Sayer role.
Mhm. I can see having opportunities just for some giggles.
I mean, they're not that expensive, and not a lot of these formations get recce options in formation.
Yeah, the tank
Like the
ones do, the infantry
infantry certainly
don't.
don't.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And they can be calibrated helicopters, so it's a good way of bolstering the airborne if you're going for an air landing
Oh
operation.
yeah, these are also AA machine guns too, so
Hmm.
a little extra AA support there. But yeah, like you can put, if I'm running a tank formation, I'm putting these as my recon option,
It's interesting.
especially over like the Jeeps or the 113s. Like,
Hmm. You know how I mentioned earlier, one of the vehicles, I think it's an angle shot, had ×2 on its machine guns. So it
yes,
could put out 2 AA shots. And this one has 4 machine guns. It can still only get one shot anti-aircraft.
they're only 7.62s.
Yeah, but yeah, you got four sets of eyes looking around. But it's fun. It's a fun little recce unit. And like I say, it is slightly more expensive than its equivalent price of Jeeps, if I recall correctly,
Uh, yes.
but only literally by maybe a point.
Pretty sure that is the case. I'm gonna just look that up super fast.
Mhm.
Uh, it's twice as many points as a Jeep,
Oh, is it twice
as
as
the
many?
Jeeps.
Okay.
Yes. I still think that's well worth it because you get the same number of vehicles, but twice as many machine gun shots.
Yeah.
Because the Jeeps are 3326 forward firing also, which is absolutely terrible. Forward firing only on these little things.
Hmm.
Uh,
Whereas the Rabbi is all round fire.
yeah,
So I
the
think if you're taking a tank formation, you take the M113s. If you're taking the infantry, you take these bad boys. So uh
I don't know. I think if you have the option, especially to put these in formation, these are what you want.
is anyone that
And
has
you
this
run
information?
the tank units have them in formation.
Do they? I apologize. Okay, if
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
it's
case,
it's
then yeah.
the Rabbies, the Jeeps, and the 113 Recon.
Oh, right. Yeah, that changes the equation entirely. Yeah,
Yeah, the
definitely.
infantry don't get a information recon at all.
Right. You're right. I missed that they were in the actual tank formations. In that case,
Mm.
yes, definitely take those things every day of the week.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to
Sky.
save points,
Yeah.
in which case go for M113s.
Sure. If you're trying to save points, you can get more holes cheaper with the M113s.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Skyhawk is the same, so I'll only have the
Looters.
napalm option on them.
It's
But you do have the 30 mil gun because this is not the Kiwi Skyhawk. This is the IDF one.
yeah.
So it's AT-7 3 shots, firepower 5 anti-helicopter.
I mean, 87 is great for you want to go hunting SAM systems, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Artillery pieces. I kind of wish so. It's like, can we not have the F4 by now? I mean, like I say, as it even says here, this was being used by one squadron reservists by the time of their 80s. The
One
F4 was,
squadron of reservists,
yeah,
still skill 3 up.
still good for it. It's the IDF. It's IDF AF. They're a thing for a reason.
Hmm.
Um, the F4s though, they were being because obviously the F-15, the F-16 were coming in service. They're being more relegated to close air support, and the F4s just look cooler. Dropping big clusters of bombs on it, that kind of
The
thing.
fact that the Phantoms did not come in with the Nordic
Iranians,
Forces
already,
books
yeah.
makes me think that we're never gonna get them. Uh,
Yeah.
the Cobras slash Vipers, what we know as Cobras, are the same with the exception
I,
of you can upgrade the ITOs to the Mapats.
I think, I mean, I know if you do it on here, you got to do it on everyone, but that jumping range is not insignificant when you try to keep out of, certainly shulker range, but also manpad
Yeah.
range as well. Most manpads are range 48. When
No, I
mapats,
think the radar gives Shulka's 60-inch range, doesn't it?
nah,
Eh,
it tops out at 32 or 36 inches, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I think it certainly just helps keep you back. You'll
Mhm.
still be in the far envelope of the certainly the bigger SAM systems, but manpads is a lot easier to get out of, I think.
Right. Fun new Apaches slash Cobras.
Mhm.
Uh, they are they're armed the exact same as the American versions. Hellfires, 30 mil chain guns, the one shot rocket pods.
But no ever uses. I,
So
it's,
so
I,
what?
I mean, I built the American book. I mean, in real life, I love the Apache, but I always feel like I'd rather have the TOW2 Cobras for a lot cheaper points.
The Hellfire is very expensive.
It's very
Uh,
good, but also that range 16 can be awkward sometimes.
yes, especially when we're dealing with aircraft. I agree. I would say I'd rather save a not significant amount of points and just run TOW2 Cobras.
Hmm.
But obviously, if you buy TOW2 Cobras, you have to upgrade all your tows. So there might
Which
be
can
a long-term savings factor in having Apaches instead because the Hellfires don't care.
correct.
They're Hellfires.
I'm a Hellfire. I
Uh,
don't care.
yeah,
Let's say Israeli airborne operations. So
right. So here's where it says you can replace uh you can add the Sea Stallions, and it also says you can carry the Rabby teams with the Sea Stallion, interestingly enough.
yeah, you can get two in Cyrix. They're designed to be lightweight and
Yeah, so for
compact.
every two, you add a Sea Stallion for 1 point. So you can lift the Rabby, Recce, and the anti-tank platoons,
Mhm.
interestingly enough. I think this is a massive waste of points, but it is very cool.
If you're doing an air landing mission, it's I think it's got to be done.
Sure, sure. And that gets you, some fun, fast buckets of machine guns.
Hmm.
But yeah, you can carry 10 infantry teams or two Rabbies in whatever configuration you have them per Sea Stallion. Uh,
Again, rate
they
of fire
have
four
to
machine
still be
guns.
selling them.
I think so. I must admit, I didn't see them fair on the new website.
And then we get to the missions in the back of the book.
hmm So one of these missions was basically the mission in Oil Wars, the Golden Heights clash. Because in the Oil Wars, you had one Iran-Iraq scenario and one Syria-Israel scenario. And this basically takes that first scenario and uses it as basis for a free game mini campaign. Um,
Right.
Basically, first
Uh,
game is the Syrians doing a dusk attack on their Israeli positions. So you got MacArthur Mark Ones versus T-62s and T-72s. Quite an even match. I say the T-72 versus the MacArthur Ones on par.
yeah,
Um,
the the second mission is a counterattack, and the third mission is an IDF preemptive strike into Lebanon.
well, when they started writing this book, it probably felt like a much. Yes,
Just Battlefront has terrible timing with books sometimes. The
I mean,
Warsaw Pact book immediately is the first one that comes to mind.
after literally the eve of the bloody Ukrainian war, yeah. But
And any other time, I would have been like, "What a cool trailer! They had fun with it." At
mhm,
the time, like you shouldn't have released this Battlefront.
no, I just say when you're 3,000 miles from anyone else, sometimes geopolitics gets lost in you, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, so one little interesting thing out of that last scenario is it mentions the Soviets breaking through Turkey. Now, Battlefront have, I'm going to join me in some speculation here, if you will, Mike. But Battlefront have
I
on the
love
past,
speculating wildly.
such as Red Dawn, where they first show the Canadian wheeled transports as literally a unit symbol on the map.
Yes,
Sometimes hinted at next books by putting them into the book the prior book.
this is why I was a little sad that they did not mention T-72Bs anywhere in those little
Yeah,
attack diagrams.
but in this last scenario, you have the Mark III's Merkavas versus Soviet T-80s. I think it's maybe showing here. Let's have a little Gen 3 rumble.
Yeah, it is a reserve force because you start with Syrian T-72Ms,
Mhm.
and some
Who
BMPs
are
and
going to have a
whatnot. But it's
very
like
bad
immediate
day.
reserves. You bring in 10 T-80s,
Yeah.
and the IDF brings in more Merkavas threes and a couple twos.
hmm but like I say, it's just interesting how they do finally have some sort of mention of a larger Southern Front war going on by having the Soviets breaking through Turkey. I said before,
Well,
lots
breaking
of
through eastern Turkey, so they've come through the Caucasus.
come from the mountains, the easy route getting here. Yes, very mount. Probably a whole bunch of Kurdish forces who are very peeved at having everyone once again going through their territory.
I'm
Um,
just saying, they didn't need to go over the mountains. They had bases on the Turkish side of the mountains in Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia.
yeah. So why are they making this? You're right. Why are they making this
The
hard for
fact that they're
themselves?
also like in the T-80s come
Yeah.
from East Turkey, break through it. I'm like, I understand that you like want to like little treat things, but like they never put T-80s in Armenia, bro. Come on, I've done the research.
No,
They had
it's
T-72s and you liked it,
at
and that was it.
best, at
And
absolute best. Yeah.
no, that was the force org. Is the tank battalions had 72s and the infantry's had 55s.
Oh, okay.
I've done the research,
I,
believe it or not. I'll
no,
send you the
I appreciate it. If you could, I'm interested to hear it. Yeah.
no.
But as I said before, most of the range is there now for Turkey. You can have the Leopard twos in there. You got the M60s. You've got their infantry fighting vehicles are basically the same as their what's the one was it built, but Dutch have the YPR. It's basically that kind of thing that lost to Bradley, but seemed to be a massive export success because the South Koreans use it as well, which is another book I want to see. So it'd be interesting to see them go and do a Turkey book at some point and having that sort of that Southern Front, throwing it against the Bulgarians. That's always fun. Bulgarians going
Give
down.
me the Balkans book. Do it. Do it, you cowards.
You want your MiG-15s in the Albanian Air Force, don't you? That's what it is. I'm gonna I'm gonna bring a 1950s aircraft to a 1980s war.
It would be funny.
It's like not even a MiG-15, it's a Chinese rip-off of a MiG-15. It's the MiG-15 you get from Wish.
Look, it's very funny.
This is very funny. Um, and yeah, after the scenarios, we basically get their as always, painting guides there, and then we get the catalog page, including the starter set. And
Yes. Hold on a second. Let me. We're
look,
safe from exposing points. So let me share the screen so we can take a look at. There we go. Let me just widen this up. So starter set. We'll come back to that. Let's just browse. Let's peruse the catalog at our leisure. We'll come back to the
okay,
starter set. Right. Fancy new Merkavas.
as you said earlier, the box builds all three variants. So it must be an upgrade sprue or something. But either way, cool to see.
Well, just looking with my eyes here, it looks like it's the exact same bottom hole.
I think so. Yeah, I think the modular armor is very much on the turret top.
Yeah. Uh, the Magax.
Yeah, so interesting. They must be put in. It says it's a box, a McGax platoon. So it
It's
must
got to be
be
like a little upgrade sprue,
well, the
or
side cast upper, like it was on their
yes,
US Marine Corps ones. It looks at it's got a side cast look to it. But
I think
interesting,
you're right.
that you can buy this as a platoon box, whereas with the US Marine Corps, it's buy a separate upgrade blister effectively. I also like the fact they got the stowage on, but again, it only seems to be one. I know there are variants there.
It's
You can see there are
it.
variants on the actual thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that looks
Got
slightly different.
and that
Yeah,
one's
but
got the
it
jerry
does
can
look
in the
like
back.
this replaces the
Turret top.
bin on the chart top. Yeah.
Yep. Like I say,
And you know what? It says all plastic. So part of me was like, oh, these are going to be resin bits. No, it's all plastic.
I think they count the side cast as plastic. We've done it before where it's like
Oh, that might be the case. Yeah.
I could be wrong. I like to be wrong. I like it to be a hard plastic. I just don't think it will be.
hmm
Prove me wrong,
they
Battlefront.
they just say buy the Swedish kit for the show ad, so that's nothing new.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame because the era, where's it got out of the way not to just reuse the American era because it looks wrong. The Swedish era configuration is not the same as the Blazer configuration if you're a rivet cancer like I am. But most people won't care, so
Close enough for government
exactly.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, the infantry platoon. This literally makes all of your. It makes your mech. It makes your airborne. It makes your reserve. It's all the exact same.
Yeah. I hope so. One of the things it doesn't make clear here, because just reusing the picture from Oil Wars, whether you can build the B300s as
Ooh.
well as the RPGs, or do you just get one loader but two different gunners? Also, I'm hoping they release the B300s as a separate thing you could buy for upgrading Israeli platoons. 'Cause I've got like two blisters of Israeli infantry sitting around, and I kind of want the B300s without buying new blisters. Just
Maybe, but it does specifically call the B300s in.
or RPGs, yeah, which
Yeah.
makes me think they share a common loader or something.
Yeah. But I'm sure you have enough extra boys that you could
Oh yeah, it's just
make
trying to
them.
get actually the
I
actual
mean,
B.
you have a
B
command team. How many extra command teams do you need? You can have a second guy on the stand.
yeah, that's true.
Uh, so classic 113 box.
Yeah, interestingly, it shows, and let's look. We go up here. It
Yeah.
shows a guy at the back hatch, the machine gun on the M113 recce. So is there an Israeli sprue? Because the tow gunner's got their Israeli style helmet. So just say a crew, two M150 crew, that's upgrade kit, smart crew. I wonder if it's like a special Israeli sprue I've never seen before. It has the mortar crew, the M150 gunner, and also the machine gunner for the actual recce version.
It calls out the M125, interestingly enough.
Hmm. That's it. M125 is the 81 mm mortar, and
Oh, okay, yeah,
the
okay, yeah. And then
M106
the
is the
106 is the 120. Got it,
well,
got it, got it.
Yeah, normally it's a 105, but yes, the Israeli one is upgraded to a 120.
This makes me wonder if these are just reusing Oil War pictures then,
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's all the same.
because I don't know if I cannot confirm one way. Then again,
I,
nowhere does it say plastic only on this, so maybe they just throw in these metal boys.
maybe, yeah, let's say, but I often find that all plastic thing can be very inconsistently applied.
Fair.
Yeah, so the picture is the same. It's a shame. It's the same as Oil Wars one. Yeah.
Okay. The paras, here are the rabbies.
Mhm.
They are not plastic, but oh wow. These are much longer than I thought of compared to their picture
Yeah,
inside the
they are a bit
formations and
gangly.
whatnot. They are they are not nearly as fun looking as I thought they were. I thought they were a little more compact. But also again, still very open topped.
Hmm. Yeah, but
If
also,
you wanted if you wanted to account for MRAP stuff, you should have just given them a special rule
mhm.
that we could just apply to other books.
Yeah, it's basically say it counts as a top of one versus mines. There you go, job done.
I also like that we've confirmed that it is four guys hanging out of off the sides with machine guns.
It's his Brady Reserve five-a-side football team's little wagon. That's what it is.
It is all five of them because it's four guys, and then here's the little helmet of the driver who must be very uncomfortable.
Just getting showered in shell casings.
Well, I mean, who's worse off, the guy getting showered in shell casings or the guy who has to deal with the black blast like flying right over his head on the tow variant?
Not a service-related injury. Yes.
I would not want to be a Rabby driver in either situation.
No.
Skyhawks, Jeeps, same old, same old.
Mhm.
Here's the upgrades.
So I wonder if that
Not cheap.
M113 was a single piece casting. Actually, now I'm looking at it like a U-shaped casting.
Hmm,
I'm curious, but yeah, it's
that
quite
seems difficult to do though.
it does.
I bet
But
that's three pieces that they've just,
that'd
you
make more
know,
sense, wouldn't it?
applied
Yeah,
a filter to the 113 it's on.
yeah. Yeah, it is pricey. But it just looked good from what I can see from the picture, but
Mm,
it is pricey.
The, the Nagma shots, Nagma shoats.
Five
Uh,
resin kits. That's gonna be a price again. That'd be a price.
four machine guns on the top of this thing.
And a 50 cal. But it's
And,
interesting. The machine
I'm sorry, a 50 cal, a grenade launcher, and
and
then the 7.62 machine guns on the back.
two
Like,
GMPs. Yeah,
I
pointing
don't.
backwards. Yeah,
Yeah,
they should be rear firing or something. It should be on the stats. But like I say, it's a resin box of five tanks. That's gonna be easy about 35-40 quid for a box, I reckon. So I think
uh,
having
we
one for a platoon is probably that the
we
right
we
price.
can we can go take a look.
Oh, you can custom. We saw it the other day, didn't we? It's on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bring up live. Man checks up things on the internet.
Man looks at things on the internet. Hold on, I'm bringing up. Oh, those are that's the cost of a full tank platoon, and then a little bit extra for your trouble.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's about yeah.
It's not great. Uh, the Rabbies are also not fantastic either because I know the catalog does say you get four of them. That is still quite pricey. Uh, Everything else is the existing kits. I think we've pondered the fun times here
Yeah,
well enough. Uh,
yeah.
so let's take a look at the. Actually, you know what? Let's hit the infantry platoon here
I'm
really
more enjoying
quick.
it other tabs here. Was this the research you're doing earlier about the Armenians and stuff?
I'm looking for the thing here. So I think those are the. No, those aren't the
That's just lore.
B300s.
The
Yeah.
B300s will be a single stand. That's the RPG
Gee,
Dragon.
that is the drag. Oh, what the heck? Come on.
I don't think it's going to show it. That's light mortar. Right, so obviously I haven't got a picture of the B300 yet. There, that time, that one right at the end.
This one?
Those two, yeah, those two there. The time got what two firing from the one firing, two firing, and one on the move by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
cool.
because here's their counterparts. So yeah, I don't think that's enough to change it up.
Yeah, but like I say, hopefully they release the B300 separately, so guys like me who have blisters can upgrade. So they want to just buy one two blisters when I already have all the rest of the infantry.
All right, so let's take a look at the
Starter set.
yes. So
Hmm.
you get 5 Merkava tanks built as any one of your choosing.
Yep, which makes it, which fixes the one thing I was made sure I thought I was going to have with this box.
I was hoping this would be a bigger picture.
No, I think that's good. Oh yeah, okay, that's
So
better.
5 Merkavas built as anything you want.
Hmm.
3 Shoats, 3 MLRS, 5 113s, which are 4 Recce and an OP, and then a couple VADs.
Yeah,
Man,
it's so basically the M113 gives you a four vehicle recce platoon plus an OP. So the OP's got MRS, which makes it, range on the two plus in the open and freeze and terrain, which is what we sniffed
yeah.
at. But you're again back to that classic Battlefront starter set thing of one HQ tank, two platoons of two tanks. You've then got the Shoats, which are going to be
This
formations.
would be really different if Shoat was one of the options for your multi-tank platoon,
Yeah. So you
because
do.
then you could be 2 in the HQ, full platoon of 3,
Mhm.
and then 3 Shoats. But obviously, you can't mix the Shoats and the Magax into the Merkavas.
No. If that was how this worked, this would be straight away a solid starter. But it's not.
Yes,
This is the worst timelines we keep saying.
we keep running into these two
Yeah.
tank formations.
On the other hand, you do get so one thing that they seem to be doing a lot more frequently. You get dice, you get tokens, you get two
Oh
objectives.
yes,
I always like seeing that. They're doing the chevron thing as well, which is standard Israeli tank marking.
which is interesting because this isn't the dice that the things that they're selling on the site. Is they're the Star of David ones, are the ones. So these are different.
Oh, okay. So it's specific
So
to the box. That's interesting. Yeah, I think now you mentioned it. I think I just saw them at the bottom of that
I remember the oh
Browse My Nation, all that. Yeah, okay, that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So,
So they're selling this the classic Israeli flag Star of David set,
mhm.
but in the box you're getting the chevron armor.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, is a lot easier to use than a Brighton gaming store than the Star Trek ones.
Yeah, them just being gray is interesting.
Yeah, because I guess try and do the Sinai grey, but that just looks grey rather than the greeny
It
grey.
looks like field grow.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean,
sorry, just while we're talking, on the sprue, they got the pictures of sprue below.
oh yeah, here we go.
Clicking that third one in, I
Uh,
reckon that the third one in must be the upgrade sprue for the Mark III.
hold on, what turret
That's
is that? No, it's got the bulgy sides there. That's not right. This
right.
might be it. This
That,
looks right. That looks
that
like
looks like a
the
120
proper.
millimeter main gun right
Oh yeah,
there.
here it says right here, Merkava Mark III right there.
Okay, so it's an extra.
So it is just an extra sprue thrown in, confirmed.
It's better than that. That's an entirely separate turret. You can
That is an
have
entirely separate turret. Actually, you know what? This is actually yeah, because
this
now it's just a straight up turret swap.
because they can have it built. You can admittedly you have to choose between building the other turret as a Mark 1 and Mark 2, but
Sure,
nice to have that and a Mark 3 turret.
yes. So not only that, but if you buy a box, you just need to build and paint the turrets and just plop them on your existing Merkavas.
Well, that too, yeah.
Because that's clearly another peg.
Hmm.
So this is actually finding this information out is actually quite good for this
Hmm.
box.
It redeems
Uh,
it.
because obviously it's time to go back to the tier list.
This is what everyone comes for. This is what people pay their money for. Zero money.
Zero money. So this is a classic. Battlefront gave us 2 tanks and a
Mhm.
tank that doesn't fit. I mean, the separate tank from a whole different formation really reeks of a certain starter set
It's
over here.
but counterpoint.
Hmm.
You do get a full 3-gun battery of the MRS rather than a 2-gun battery you can't upgrade.
Yes.
Sure, you only get 2 VADs, but getting the extra 2 VADs is really simple. You're probably going to buy more M113s anyway, and you'll get the VAD sprue that way. There's nothing in that box you can't upgrade easily without having annoying odd units or anything like that.
Yeah, because actually,
So straight away, it's not in
you
the bottom.
buy you buy a box of 113s. You
Yeah.
get 5 of them.
Hmm.
You turn 2 more into VADs,
Yeah.
and then you turn the remaining 3 into mortars.
Hmm. 120 mm
And that
mortars.
and that's a perfect use of an entire box of 113s.
Yeah. I mean, as we were saying earlier, MRS is not the top tier option for the rockets, but it's not bad. It's just I always find that firepower 5 just hurts at the worst possible moments. But dropping a minefield is always fun.
Yeah, and
Um,
also now that I think about it, if you don't run the 113s as recce's, they're just transport 113s
they
at that
could be
point.
4 transport M113s for the transport platoon. Yeah,
As long as you don't put the extra dude like poking his head out the back, you just seal that back hatch. There's no way to differentiate. So
yeah.
now you just buy a platoon of infantry. I was joking about sticking it down in British, but Lee and I were talking a little bit before
Hmm.
whether it be flawed or existing.
So I was going existing, but now I've seen the sprue and how the Macarthur Mark III turret integrates,
Yes.
and thought a bit more about the M113 options. I'm honest getting back towards it being a flawed choice. Because
That's
what if you're starting for this as a new player, which is how we always look at this,
mhm.
that box and a second box of Macarthurs probably makes a pretty decent force. And then you could buy an infantry blister and have the infantry riding around the M113s. It's
Yeah.
I think it leans more towards floor choice than existing collection booster.
I am inclined to agree because that's where I was leaning from the get go because I'm like that kit builds all 3 variants, so
Hmm.
you can mix and match a little bit.
Yeah,
You could run some Merkava 3s, some Merkava 2s.
yeah. It seemed like straight. I mean, to my mind, at the very least, it was a good way. If you already had an Israeli army, it was a good way to expand it and add the Mark Five, the Mark Threes in, and get a few extra bits. But I'm more like say now, having seen the contents a bit more and how it works, I think, like I say, if you're going to be a new player, it's not a bad one.
It's not bad. The Shoats are kind of still the sticking point here because you've got a bunch of
Yeah,
Merkavas, and then here's some Centurions.
yeah. Do we want to be writing Mark Three shirt, Mark Three Macavers, Mark One or Two Macavers, and then have some more 105 tanks that have far less armor?
Yeah, it's less than ideal. But I
It,
think those Shoats are the thing that's actually bringing it down because
yeah,
it's a full box of MLRS. You are a box of 113s away from fixing your 113 problem
yeah.
and getting mortars.
If the show was in formation, that'd be
If
a
the
solid
shower was in
starter,
formation, I would agree that it would probably be solid starter,
but it's not.
but it's not. So I think flawed is a fair cop for this.
I think so. I can't. I'm not going to push back on that. I think that's like I say because you can now build both turrets at the at the Macabre, which I assumed it'd be an upgrade sprue. But I assumed it was going to be a small sprue and it'd reuse the base plate. The fact it doesn't reuse the base plate and you get all the machine guns, so you can fully populate the turret. That's a really compelling feature.
But yeah, I mean, like the shape is totally different. I don't see how you could reuse the.
Probably not. No, I mean yeah.
That is a big turret. That is a big boxy ass turret.
Hmm. It's
That
got
is an M1A1 HC ass turret.
yeah, it's got big composite armor blocks in it. Basically, that's what the modular armor is.
Right, but like this is a little
Hmm.
rounded. This thing goes back much further.
Yeah. It does actually, yeah, that's a fair point. The bustle is a lot bigger.
Yeah. So looking at this and for the price, I think you get a pretty reasonable amount of oomph out
Yeah,
of this box.
I'm not used to freedom money. That's a standard starter price, isn't it, in US dollars?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
this is classic. They've taken the Marine box out.
Hmm.
I guess they finally taken off because it said sold out, but it was the exact same as the Marine Corps starter.
Yeah.
So
Because it's got dice in and the counters, but it
yes,
makes this a limited edition thing. So,
and unique dice and counters.
which I hadn't appreciated.
Yeah,
I mean, it could have been either set of dice. It probably would have worked. So the fact it's unique dice. So if you really want to add more dice later, you could get their Star David ones in. So if you want differentiate dice in a roll, kind of
yeah.
handy.
Because I think they have been doing like special sets of tokens and dice for these limited run
Yeah.
boxes.
Like I say, since the US Marine Corps one there, which as you say is out of stock.
Yeah, but
And obviously
this
all
is
the recent World War II ones that had the actual sets in as well.
so yeah, they didn't give them the Marine Corps one, they gave them a deserty one. Although
It's not quite the same. I don't think they're
I
quite
think they recolored something here.
I mean, it's a chevron. How hard is it to do it? So, but yes,
Sure, but I think this is just a quick color swap
yeah,
going on here.
palette swap. But yes, but like I say, I do like the little like the texture you
Does
get
the
on desert
new
ones.
Bradley come with tokens or anything like that?
No, so that's why they're not limited edition. That and the Warsaw Pact one don't have dice or
Okay.
only thing limited about the Soviet one is you got the heavy weapon sprue in the first run of the
Okay.
because that as we say that really boosted that in the to make it a lot more useful. It's still a solid
Hmm.
starter without it, but if you get one that's got the heavy weapon sprue in, it really makes it a good starter.
Yeah, so that's the Israeli book.
That's all the Team Yankee we're getting.
That is all the announced Team Yankee that we are getting. That being
So
said,
no more podcasts for the
uh
rest of the year. Goodbye, people.
oh, if only. Now, um there's gonna be stuff coming up. I did place my Battlefront order.
Hmm.
It's been confirmed it hasn't shipped yet. I bought the late Firestorm Leviathan box.
Hmm.
I bought the let's see here.
The Clash of Steel campaign set.
Yes, because I wanted to see what's in there.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
intrigued.
I I bought the Panzermörser Zug because I'm like I just want 3 113s for the mortars. And I also bought a lav platoon. I was like, you know what? I might need a third lav. Let's just go for it. I'm
What
just gonna
labs?
I'm gonna. It says they have 5 in stock. Uh
So I might have catered my resolution of not buying anything new this year. I mean, technically, I haven't bought anything new. Other people have placed the
oh
orders.
oh
But
really?
when it started off with Mike was placing an order, so I said, "Oh, can you get me a box of their of the buckets AAV7s or 2 boxes of them?" 'Cause I thought I
Uh-huh.
wanted to get the ground options while I wait to get some Sea Knights for their US Marine Corps.
Okay.
That's that then. I thought that's sure I've broken the resolution, but it's for something to complete an army to actually make it legal. So it's
Everything's 30% off right now, guys. Come
exactly.
on.
But then
It'd be
but I thought,
stupid not to.
well, that's it. Everything's 30% off. It's stupid not to. And Duncan said he was placing an order, and you need to get the money up to make it over the free postage. I goes, can you get me some Humvees? He goes, yeah, how many? 5 boxes, please. A box of the
Dear
RDF,
God.
the box of the RDFs as well, the little light tanks. So I'm going to be doing myself a little Humvee mounted, the Humvees,
Are you I'm sorry, I heard you're getting the
combined
GI Joe
arms.
tanks.
I know I'm doing a combined arms formation. I'm
Yeah,
going to
but that means you're putting the GI Joe tanks in.
I'm going to get Eddie to knock me up so the GI Joe decals go on the engine deck.
Mm.
specifically Action Force because I'm British rather than American, so it's Action Force. Duh. No, it'd be GI Joe because it's American. It's
Yeah.
American Army. So, but my plan is I got it's something I wanted to do the Battle of Mogadishu, but the Iranian version. So I get Duncan to bring his Passage. I'm going to bring Humvees and Black Hawks basically. We're going to do ourselves a Black Hawk Down Iranian version for doing a little campaign set in like the alternative Team Yankee thing with Americans dueling with the Soviets over Iran. Well, I have no idea when I get around to this, but painting all those Humvees up for the US Marine Corps really got me into painting Humvees. And so I cracked like a cheap mug and got some more Humvees. But I better do a full. I'm gonna try and leave it so the weapon stations come off, but so I can do a full div cav formation or a full light assault formation or the infantry carrying version, do a combined arms company with the infantry. Lots of options basically. And just reuse the US Marine Corps infantry to do the actual desert infantry.
Yeah, so uh blanking out a little bit here. That being said, I'm totally lost. Oh, I'm sorry. We got talking about the website. Uh,
Yeah,
so
what
as
you
soon as that
bought?
stuff comes in especially the Leviathan box and the Clash of Steel box, I am in fact planning on doing some unboxing videos for that. So whenever Battlefront decides to send me those things, expect me opening up the Firestorm Leviathans and the Battle for Hungary box and taking a peek inside and
Hmm.
probably doing a little something talking about like what we can do to convert that up to Team Yankee or Flames. I mean, obviously, Firestorm Leviathan very easy to switch up to Flames.
Yeah. I think, like I said, Clash of Steel wouldn't be interesting as doing that as a Team Yankee campaign, I think.
Mhm. So, but still, the Battle for Hungary, I'm like, ooh, well,
Well, Battle for
you
Hungary,
you
I'd really want to be doing, like say, my proper like 1950 go for 1956 Checkpoint Charlie. I want to be running Centurion Mark threes, Jordan with T-54s, T-44s. The bit where NATO actually decides, yes, we are going to actually come and free the Hungarian people from the savage yoke of the Soviet bloc.
I'm sorry, I think you'll easily be defeated by the immortal sciences of Marxist Leninism. Anyway,
The sheer weight of numbers.
the will of the people, please. Anyway, so I think that's all we had planned going for today. We
Yep.
talked about New Year, New Army in the massive amount of progress Lee and I have made in a single week.
Well, I mean, I've like painted three platoons almost, and you've built a tank.
I've built 4 tanks and you've painted webbing.
I've been painting lots of webbing, lots of webbing.
Webbing.
But
That's
yes,
the plural of webbing is
I've
webbing.
already painted two platoons as well. But before you even started this, so it's I at least got some of my painting thing done. But yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure when the next episode is going to be, but hopefully by then we'll both have made a bit more progress on our respective forces. So
Yes, we shall see. Um, but please remember to comment, be nice to each other in the comments, be nice
mhm.
to each other in the comments. Like, subscribe,
It looks like
and
you think this episode could be controversial from its contents or something.
I'm an American. There's a lot of people upset about a lot of things right now.
I mean, there's Christians upset about other Christians telling people to be good Christians. I lost track of what's being upset about now. By
I'm just saying, everyone, please be nice to each other in the comments, okay?
always being
Especially given the propensity of the American scene to devolve into you know what? I'm not bringing up Adepticon again. We're good on that front. It's fine.
yes. Just get. But be nice to each other. Just be nice to each
Just
other.
be
We're all
nice to
war
each other,
gamers at the end of the day.
please. For
We-
the yeah.
We'll just go throw some dice and play with our war dollies. It's all good fun.
Yes.
By the way, like and subscribe. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next. I'm guessing Pacific when that rolls around. I'm sure we'll
Uh
probably do a little mini episode in the meantime to show where we got to. Plus, Mike's unboxing video, which I'm going to help him do all the editing on and stuff. So keep tuned.
yeah.
There'll be more content coming.
So yeah, might split that into two videos.
Oh
Like
yeah,
one for
do it
each
one.
box just to give it
It's
time. We'll
content.
see.
You don't put it in one episode. That's just it's just you just have to content, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You don't get those
Uh
likes by putting you don't get all those likes and validation by having it in one video, okay?
yes. So anyway,
Sorry.
uh we'll see you guys hopefully sometime again in the month of February for at least my unboxings. And
Hmm.
if not, we'll definitely try and get something out in March.
Just say
So
what I've been painting and anything else. Yes.
bye.
See you later. Bye bye. We haven't got any existing collection boosters in Team Yankee. Well, that's good. We're going to
How
have our
does
first
that?
one.
I mean, t- I don't think you're wrong. Oh,
I,
actually, you know what? Hold on, hold on.
I, I, I could probably make a case for it being a flawed choice. That's just like two tank units. I